Hi my lovelies, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you are all doing extremely well. And in today's Cook With Me video, we are going to be doing something Christmas themed, something to do with leftovers, and we are making something that can be used with with turkey or chicken, because a lot of people I know will have a chicken on Christmas Day and won't necessarily have a turkey, or they might get a couple of chickens in and have some leftovers. So this is all about making something with leftovers, and we are making a turkey and leek pie, which is utterly delicious, whether you use turkey or indeed chicken. So I first made this quite a few years ago, and the first time I made it at Christmas, it was so delicious that I used to always make it a few times throughout the year using chicken rather than turkey. So whether I'd buy a whole chicken and strip the whole thing and make a pie with it, or whether I would buy chicken thighs because they were cheaper, cook them off and strip the meat off of them. So there are lots of options. So any leftover cooked meat or any meat that you might want to buy purposely, then go for the cheaper type like chicken thighs would be my suggestion. So this was a Jamie Oliver recipe in the first place, so you would be able to find this online as well, but it's definitely worth making. So for us, it used to be, it's not us anymore, but back in the day when it was us, family, we would always have our traditional Christmas dinner, Boxing Day, cold meat, mashed pickle and leftovers like stuffing balls, pigs in blankets, etc. And then on the third day of Christmas, we used to have turkey and leek pie. So all of those three dinners were associated with Christmas time, and I love every single one. So I don't like to spoil it by making this pie too many times within the year, because it takes the shine off of it then. But I thought it might be super handy to share this recipe with you guys if you will have leftover meat and you don't know what to do with it, and yeah, you're not particularly into just buying a jar of curry sauce and stirring your leftover meat through it, which of course is absolutely fine, and I've done that on many of an occasion as well. Nice, quick and simple dinner. So let's get into what we need for our pie. I'm also going to talk to you about alternatives here as well. So for example, I've got creme fraiche over there, which was bought not on the shopping that I did earlier this week, but on the week before's shopping. I checked the date on it because I didn't know when I was going to get round to making this pie or indeed this video, but it's worked out perfectly because today I've got my son and his girlfriend coming for dinner. So I thought, well, if I make this, it means I can do the video for you guys as well. So talking of alternatives, I will say, if you've got cream left over from Christmas, then of course you can use single cream or double cream in this recipe as well. That is not a problem. I've got black pepper. I won't be using salt because I've got a stock cube there. So I never use salt if I'm using a stock cube. I've got some sage. I have got a pack of leeks where there are just two. I've got my jug ready to make my stock up. I have got plain flour. There is a little knob of butter left in that wrapper, and I always keep the wrappers for greasing cake tins, etc. I've got a pack of puff pastry. I've got some cooked chicken, which I'm going to chop up a little bit smaller, and I've got 2 rashers of bacon. You can use streaky because, again, you may well have streaky left over from Christmas if you've done your own pigs in blankets. The chicken was really greasy, as you can see. I'm going to dab that over with a bit of kitchen roll before I cut this up into smaller chunks. Especially if you've stripped meat off of the bone, you want to make sure, of course, there aren't any little bones that might find their way into somebody's dinner. So I think chopping it up, using a really big knife to go over it all is super helpful, just in case. On, guys, I've got a decent sized knob of butter in my pan. And while that's melting down, we need to wash and cut up our leeks. So our butter's melting down nicely. So I'm just going to prepare my leeks. Just getting rid of the ends. I do keep a fair amount of the darker green, just so we've got more pie filling. And just to add, at this stage, by the way, I don't know if you can see that, but I slice, how can I do it? I slice about halfway down with the knife and then drag it through the length of the leek, because these can get really dirty inside. You've probably noticed if you've ever used them for cooking, although this one seems to be quite clean. And yeah, just wanted to add here, guys, that also if you've got any, you know, leftover pigs in blankets, you could chop those up and use those instead of the rashers of bacon. That would be an idea. And also if you had any stuffing balls left over, or just stuffing that you could perhaps chop up into little pieces, you could also use that as well. And we're going to need to wash this to ensure it's clean. Butter's melting down nicely, and you can see I swapped over chopping boards because I will not cut through into plastic anymore after the news that we all have a credit card's worth of plastic within our brains. I use this all the time now, and I think, as I said before, I must have a whole bank's worth in my brain, I'm sure of it. Right, so we're going to wash these and then we're going to add them to our pan. So leeks have been added to the melty butter, so I'm just going to give the leeks a good old stir so that they're all coated, or as much as possible. And of course you've got the water from the leeks, which will create steam to help them cook as well. And we're going to cook these off for about 3 minutes before we pop a lid on, and then we're going to turn the heat down. I'm on number 5 at the moment. I'm probably going to go down to about number 3 for about 20 minutes to let them sweat in the butter. Guys, so the lid is on, and on my induction hob I've decided to just go down to number 4. And I'm just going to put a timer on my phone for 20 minutes, but I'll probably come back out halfway through to give them a stir as they go along. But in the meantime, I'm going to chop up the cooked chicken into smaller pieces. Can't feel any bones in any of it. That all feels fine. Excellent. So while the leeks are cooking away, I have made up my stock. So I've got 2 pints of stock in my big jug there, which you will see shortly. And I've just got a very small non-stick saucepan here. I didn't want to use a big frying pan, just to cook off these 2 rashers of bacon that I have here. So while those leeks are cooking, our stock is made, and we're going to cook off our bacon. Guys, you know, just a reminder to tweak things. I've got 2 rashers of bacon here because that was what the original recipe said, 2 rashers of streaky bacon. But if you've got more bacon and less meat, then of course, you know, do an extra rasher. There's just play around with it, and I think that's the beauty of this pie. The other thing that Jamie Oliver did, when it comes to laying out your puff pastry on the top, the original recipe says to use chestnuts crumbled up, pressed into the pastry. which again, it is a nice feature. Not something I will be doing today. I don't have any chestnuts, but we used to always have chestnuts because I always did my Brussels sprouts with bacon and chestnuts in the old days. Life before living here. But yeah, it's a nice alternative if you like chestnuts, and of course if you don't and you don't have them in, don't buy them. It's not necessary. It's still a super duper tasty pie. As you can see, guys, like, stir them regularly. These are softening up really nicely now because there is enough butter and the water that the leeks were washed in to keep them nice and happy. You just want to make sure they're not sticking. Well, I have to say the bacon smells absolutely divine. And now I'm going to add that to our leeks. Just to give it some flavour. Get any of those gnarly bits off the bottom of the pan. And you could, of course, cook your bacon in the pan first. I'm just giving that a stir through. So the bacon and the leeks are lovely and soft. And now we're going to add our cooked meat. So whether that is turkey, chicken, a mixture of both, whatever you've got left after Christmas. We're going to pop that into our pot. And then I'm going to give that a good stir. I wonder if I can put you anywhere better. You're not going to be able to see it, but I'll pick you up in a moment. So I'm just going to stir the bacon, leek and turkey mixture all together. Get that mixed through nicely. Now what we want to do, because obviously we want some kind of, Jamie Oliver calls it, what does he call it? Oh God, the word will come to me. I'll have to think of it in a little while. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to add some sage. I can't think what he calls the liquid, not gravy. So a sprinkling of sage. That's not coming out very well, so let's go for the bigger side and tip it in my hand so we don't get too much. So about a teaspoon, I would say. Pop that in. And I'm going to season the meat now as well with some pepper. And then give that a good old stir. And I'll pick you up and show you. This is why I need a tripod with one of those things in the top. I mean, with a bendy top. Oh, how about being propped up on the toaster? How do you feel about that? Right, so that's black pepper, about a teaspoon of sage. Show you that mixture. Okay, so now we are going to add, I think it is supposed to be 2 tablespoons of plain flour. Well, I don't have any tablespoons, so I am going to pop in 3 dessert spoons from my broken bag of flour. Number 3. And stir that mixture. Getting an even coating of flour over everything you've got there. That's all looking good. And it starts to go gloopy now and stick together. But not for long, guys, not for long. I can show you that. So yeah, it's very much sticking together now. Now what we want to do is to add our stock. So 2 pints of stock to go in here. Try not to spill it all over your kitchen worktop. And also make sure that your stock cube has fully melted. You could use vegetable or chicken stock cube, of course. This is a chicken one, but that's because I've got it. It would not bother me to use a veg one or the other. So then we want to stir that through really thoroughly. And now we've got a lot of liquid in there, and I have to pick you up. So bear with, just while I stir that all through nicely. Right. Ooh. Okay guys, so that's how it's looking now. So you can see we've used up most of the things that we had for the pie. And at this point now we need to bring this up to the boil. And then we're going to turn the heat back down and add our creme fraiche. So we're bubbling away nicely. So I'm just going to pop the creme fraiche in now. Oh, I hate the smell of that. I would much prefer to use normal cream, which I have bought this week. And I didn't the week that I bought the creme fraiche, otherwise I would have just used double or single cream, whichever you prefer. So we're going to stir that through. Whilst that's coming up to the boil still. Yeah, I'm not a fan of creme fraiche, I have to say. Except in this recipe, I wouldn't eat it for anything else. Right, so we've got a lovely, creamy pie filling, which is still bubbling away. And then I'm going to turn it down to simmer for about 10 minutes. And then I'm going to taste it, see if it needs any more sage, any more pepper. Does it need any salt? We will do the taste test further down the line. Right then guys, I'm not sure how much you can see propped up on my toaster. I'm going to have a little taste now. Yeah, I don't think that needs anything else. I think that's absolutely fine. So now I'm going to get a ladle, and you can see I've got a sieve there. I've got the small saucepan that I fried the bacon off in. Because what we want to do is, he doesn't say gravy, he said something else on that programme. He called this mixture that's left, which of course you pour over your mashed potatoes and vegetables. So we want to get this liquid into a pan to use as our gravy. But like I say, he didn't use that word when he very first made this on TV years ago. I forgot to say, please excuse these hair grips, Kirby grips, whatever they're called in my hair. It makes me look like a 5-year-old, but I'm sick of the cow's licks. They are driving me mad. So just while I'm indoors, I'm trying to flatten my hair down, even though I've got to wash it after work tomorrow. So yeah. Now, that's probably going to be enough for me, my son and his girlfriend, but I'm not sure whether I should do the bigger one. Will I get enough for both of these, or the bigger one and that? Oh, I don't know what I'm going to get out of it. I don't want to end up using, because obviously for a family you would use a bigger dish than the ones I've got here probably. That's too big for 3. That's possibly too small for 3. Oh my god. I'm going with the bigger one. Let's get that out of the way. I mean, if I could get that, then I could feed somebody else when they come round. We'll see how we go. We'll see how we go. If it doesn't look like there'll be enough, then we can use the small one. And I can have it myself, which of course will be super good. I'm just going to spread that out. And of course, anything like this is quite filling, so you don't want a huge portion. Because you're probably still stuffed from Christmas Day by the time you make this, to be honest. It's looking like there's enough in there. I'm probably going to have to hold this now because that small saucepan is getting really quite full up. But I think I've got enough for both of these pies, pie dishes, Pyrex dishes, whatever you want to call them. And any of this gravy stuff that's left over, I can always freeze until the second pie gets used. So that's super handy because we have got a lot there. Probably going to overflow that little saucepan now. Right, that's everything. That is everything. So me with no room in the freezer has just created another pie. Haha. Never mind. Right, that's great. Oh, liquor. That was the word you used. Liquor. Now I'm going to take some of that liquor and put over this one because that's drier than the other one. And then just let it sink through. Yeah, that's lovely because you do want a little bit of liquid in your pie filling. Yeah, that's perfect because it's not too high. So I still think there's a lot there for 3. And really 2 big portions there. So you can see how far that would go, just 2 leeks. So definitely put a couple of leeks on your list for your Christmas shopping, food shop. And if you think you're going to have some cream left over, great. If not, buy a creme fraiche. Although cream is probably more versatile, to be honest, isn't it? Because you can use it for other things and you might want it for New Year. And also after Christmas, cream will be the thing that you're going to get reduced. So, because they will no doubt have overstocked. So I'm looking forward to that because we can make butter again. But yeah, perfect. So it's just for the pastry top now, guys. Oh, I always go to turn it off like that. So we didn't have enough pastry to cover both. So that will just be the base that I am freezing. That's for today's dinner. We've got some offcuts of pastry, which I will pop in the freezer. But of course you could make some festive leaves and berries and put on the top. Totally up to you. What I've done here, instead of using egg for egg wash, I've put some mayonnaise over the top and we're going to brush that over our pie. And that will still come out nice and shiny as it does if you were using an egg. And it just saves waste of an egg. If you're not planning on scrambled eggs or an omelette the following day, you don't want to waste an egg just to make your pastry shiny. And I do like mine shiny. I don't like it with milk. With milk wash, I like egg wash. So I use mayonnaise instead. Just a little squirt and spread that all over. Perfect. literally cannot believe that I didn't take a video of it when it came out of the oven. But my son's going in for the leftover portion. It was very delicious. Gas mark 5, 190 fan for about half an hour. Superb. And that, my friends, is a finished leftover turkey or chicken leek pie. Obviously you can put holly sprigs with your pastry, whatever little things you want to put on top of it to make it look pretty, but I haven't bothered, as you can see. And there we have the finished article. I'm serving mine with mash and frozen runner beans. Cannot wait to sit down and carry on with the Sky series, All Her Fault, which has been really good and I highly recommend it. See you on Sunday. Bye bye.